Hello, and welcome to TRUCETALK, the podcast where we explore the connection between the mind, the body, and the spirit to achieve balance. In this episode, we're going to discuss the 12 laws of the universe. So sit back and relax. Take in a deep and slow breath. And as you exhale, let your eyes follow your breath if you want to. Notice the surface that you're sitting on and how firm and strong it is beneath you. As we begin to discuss the basic principles of the 12 laws of the universe. A law is a rule or principle that is made and enforced by a government or authority to regulate the behavior of people or things. There are different types of laws, such as civil law, criminal law, constitutional law, and international law. Laws can be based on customs, practices, or written documents. Here are some definitions of law from various sources. Merriam-Webster says that a law is a binding custom or practice of a community, a rule of conduct or action prescribed or formally recognized as binding or enforced by a controlling authority. Where Cambridge Dictionary says that a law is a rule usually made by a government that is used to order the way in which a society behaves. But then if we turn to the Collins English Dictionary, it states that a law is a system of rules that a society or government develops in order to deal with crime, business agreements, and social relationships. Now, if you take a look yourself on dictionary.com, it will tell you that a law is the principles and regulations established in a community by some authority and applicable to its people, whether in the form of legislation or custom and policies recognized and enforced by judicial decision. The laws of the universe are the principles or patterns that govern the natural phenomena and processes of the universe. They are often based on scientific observations, experiments, and theories, but some of them may also have philosophical or spiritual implications. There are different ways to categorize the laws of the universe, but here are some of the common examples. The physical laws of the universe describe the behavior and interactions of matter, energy, space, and time. They include the laws of motion, thermodynamics, electromagnetism, gravity, quantum mechanics, and relativity. These laws are usually expressed in mathematical equations and can be tested and verified by experiments. The cosmological laws of the universe explain the origin, structure, evolution, and fate of the universe as a whole. They include the Big Bang Theory, the inflationary epoch, the cosmic microwave background radiation, the expansion of the universe, the dark matter and dark energy, and the ultimate destiny of the universe. These laws are based on observations of the large-scale phenomena and structures of the universe, such as galaxies, clusters, superclusters, filaments, and voids. Now, the metaphysical laws of the universe describe the underlying principles or patterns that govern the spiritual, mental, and emotional aspects of reality. They include the laws of attraction, vibration, correspondence, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. These laws are often derived from ancient wisdom, religious teachings, and personal experiences. And they may vary depending on one's beliefs and perspectives. They're usually not testable or verifiable by scientific methods, but they may offer guidance and inspiration for personal growth and transformation. Now, some sources focus on the spiritual or metaphysical aspects of the laws, while others focus on the scientific or logical aspects. However, there are some common themes and principles that can be found in most of these. One of the most popular lists of the universal laws is the 12 laws of the universe, which are based on the teachings of ancient wisdom and modern science. These laws are the law of divine oneness. This law states that everything in the universe is connected to everything else. We are all part of one source energy, and our thoughts, feelings, and actions affect the whole. We are all part of one eternal source that binds us with its love and energy. We share our thoughts and feelings with no force and shape our world with our own synergy. But sometimes we forget this sacred law and think we are separated and alone. We act in ways that hurt ourselves and more, and cause our hearts to harden like a stone. Yet, we can always choose to reconnect and see ourselves in every living thing. We can embrace our oneness and respect the beauty and the joy that it can bring. For we are one with all that we behold, and in this truth we find our peace and gold. The law of vibration. This law states that everything in the universe is made of energy and has a unique frequency or vibration. We can change our vibration by changing our thoughts, emotions, and actions, and we attract things that match our vibration. We are all made of energy and light that vibrates at a certain frequency. We can attract that what matches our delight or what reflects our fear and misery. But we can change our vibration at will by choosing what we think and feel and do. We can create our own reality and manifest our dreams and visions true. For we are powerful beyond our measure, and we can shape our world with our intention. We can enjoy our life as our own treasure or suffer from our lack of attention. The law of vibration is always true. It works for me. It works for you. It works for all. The law of action. This law states that we need to take action steps towards our goals and desires in order to manifest them. Action is the bridge between the physical and the non-physical realms, and it shows our commitment and faith in our vision. We all have goals and dreams that we desire, but wishing is not enough to achieve. We need to act with passion and with fire and show our faith and trust in what we believe. But sometimes we procrastinate and doubt and let our fears and obstacles prevail. We lose our focus and our way throughout and end up feeling hopeless and frail. Yet, we can always choose to take action and overcome our challenges with grace. We can align our thoughts and words with passion and move towards our vision with our pace. The law of action is the key to success. It helps us grow, thrive, and manifest. The law of correspondence. This law states that our outer reality is the reflection of our inner reality. As above, so below. As within, so without. Whatever we think, feel, and believe inside will show up outside. We can change our outer circumstances by changing our inner state. Our outer world is but a mirror bright that shows us what we hold within our mind. As above, so below. As within, so without. Whatever we project, we surely find. But sometimes we are blind to our own power and think that we are victims of our fate. We blame our circumstances and we cower and fail to see the cause behind our state. Yet, we can always choose to change our view and look within ourselves for what we seek. We can create our own reality anew and manifest our dreams with what we speak. The law of correspondence is always fair. It gives us what we give. It shows us what we are. The law of cause and effect. This law states that every action has a consequence, and every cause has an effect. Nothing happens by chance or coincidence. Everything is a result of a previous choice or decision. We are responsible for what we create in our lives. The law of cause and effect is true. For every action has its consequence, and nothing happens by mere chance or luck, but by our choices and our influence. But sometimes we are unaware or blind and do not see how we create our fate. We think that we are helpless and confined and blame our circumstances or our state. Yet, we can always choose to change our course and take responsibility for our lives. We can create our own reality and force and manifest our dreams by what we strive. The law of cause and effect is fair. It gives us what we give. It shows us what we are. The law of compensation. This law states that we receive what we give and we get back what we put out. The universe is always balancing itself, and it rewards us or corrects us according to our actions. We reap what we sow in this life or the next. The law of compensation is the rule that guides our actions and their consequence. We reap what we sow. We cannot fool the universe that knows our true essence. But oftentimes we act in ignorance and do not see how we create our fate. We think that we deserve more recompense, but in reality, we are ingrate. Yet, we can always choose to change our mind and give with love and gratitude and grace. We can create our own abundance and find that we receive much more than we embrace. The law of compensation is always fair. It gives us what we give. It shows us what we are. The law of attraction. This law states that we attract into our lives whatever we focus on, whether it is positive or negative. Like attracts like, and we become what we think about most. We can use this law to create our desired reality by aligning our thoughts, feelings, and actions with our goals. The law of attraction is the key that unlocks our potential and our power. We attract what we focus on. We see what we think about most, hour by hour. But sometimes we are negative or blind and do not see how we create our fate. We think that we are helpless or confined and attract what we fear or what we hate. Yet, we can always choose to change our mind and focus on what we love and desire. We can align our thoughts and words with kind and act with passion, with joyful fire. The law of attraction is always true. It works for me. It works for all. It works for you. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy. This law states that energy is always moving and changing form. Nothing is static or fixed. Everything is a constant state of flux. We can use this law to transform our lives by changing our energy from lower to higher vibrations, from negative to positive emotions, from fear to love. The law of perpetual transmutation asserts that energy can change its form. It cannot be destroyed or created, but always moves and shifts like wind and storm. But sometimes we are stuck in lower states and do not see how we can change our fate. We think that we are bound by time and space and suffer from our fear and pain and hate. Yet, we can always choose to raise our vibe and change our energy from low to high. We can create our own reality by transforming negative to positive. The law of perpetual transmutation is wise. It teaches us to grow and change and rise. The law of relativity. This law states that everything in the universe is relative to something else. Nothing is good or bad, right or wrong, big or small. It only depends on how we perceive it and compare it to something else. We can use this law to improve our perspective and attitude by choosing to see things in a positive light. The law of relativity is true that everything is relative to all. Nothing is good or bad, right or wrong, small or big. It only matters how we view. But sometimes we are biased or unwise and do not see how we compare our fate. We think that we are lucky or despise our lot. We judge ourselves by others' state. Yet, we can always choose to change our lens and see things in a positive light. We can create our own happiness by sense and gratitude for what we have in sight. The law of relativity is clear. It shows us what we are by what we fear. The law of polarity. This law states that everything in the universe has an opposite. Everything has two poles or extremes: hot and cold, light and dark, love and hate, etc. These opposites are complementary and interdependent. They cannot exist without each other. We can use this law to balance ourselves and find harmony by embracing both sides of ourselves and situations. The law of polarity is real, that everything has its opposite side. There's hot and cold. There's light and dark. There's heal and hurt. These poles are always in divide. But sometimes we're biased or unwise and do not see how they depend on each. We think that we must choose one or despise the other. We are blind to what they teach. Yet we can always choose to find balance and see how they complement each other. We can embrace both sides with acceptance and find harmony within ourselves and others. The law of polarity is profound. It shows us how to be whole and sound. The law of rhythm. This law states that everything in the universe moves in cycles and patterns. Everything has its seasons, phases, stages, highs and lows, ebbs and flows. Nothing stays the same forever. Everything changes with time. We can use this law to adapt ourselves to the natural flow of life and not resist change. The law of rhythm is the way that everything moves in circles and patterns. There are seasons, phases, stages, day and night. These changes are always certain. But sometimes we resist or fear and do not see how we can flow with time. We think that we must cling or steer and fight against the natural sublime. Yet we can always choose to adapt and see how we can grow. With everything change, we can embrace our life as mapped and find our balance in every range. The law of rhythm is profound. It shows us how to be in sync and sound. The law of gender. This law states that everything in the universe has both masculine and feminine qualities. These qualities are not related to physical sex. They are aspects of energy and consciousness. The masculine principle is active, logical, rational, analytical, linear, assertive, etc. The feminine principle is passive, intuitive, creative, emotional, holistic, receptive, etc. We can use this law to balance ourselves and create wholeness by integrating both aspects within ourselves. That brings us to the end of the 12 laws of the universe. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please be sure to leave me a reply. If you'd like a list of the steps on how I wrote these particular sonnets, to go along with these 12 laws, shoot me an email and I'll send one to you. Till then, stay hypnotized. And when you're ready, take in a deep and slow breath. Fill up your belly, and then your rib cage, and then your chest. And when your chest is so full of air that it can't fill anymore, let your head tilt back and open your eyes. And as you find yourself looking up, let a feeling of gratitude wash over you for the rest of the day. Until then, this is Lindsay signing off.